If you've ever lost money from a late entry into trends or worse, buying the top and selling the bottom, pay close attention to this. The biggest trading mistake isn't getting the direction wrong, it's not noticing a market trend change. And that is exactly what this indicator resolves. Today you will learn how to use the pivot trend, a tool revealing when market structure genuinely turns without the moving average lag. Here we'll use price action pivots for a much higher accuracy rate. Unlike traditional indicators using moving averages, this one uses real price structure. It pinpoints what are known as pivots, essentially points where the price genuinely reversed significant tops and bottoms. And with that, it will draw a line for you that shows an uptrend as a blue line or a downtrend as a red line. This is key. It acts as dynamic support in uptrends and dynamic resistance in downtrends. In other words, you no longer need to guess your entry points. The indicator's settings offer several interesting features. Left bars and right bars control the pivot strength. Higher values mean fewer, more reliable signals. Lower values, more faster signals. Offset, which is a sensitivity filter. Higher means less noise, lower means more entries. Simple as that. A scalper will use lower values. A swing trader, higher values. I prefer to use the configuration that is already provided here. To display it on your chart, you must be on TradingView.com and then select the currency pair that you enjoy trading. I'm currently on GBP/USD, but it could easily be the Forex market, various other currencies, crypto, stocks, or indices, just as you prefer. I'm on the 5-minute chart, but it will also work on other time frames. You can come over here to indicators and search for the pivot trend. This chart prime option will pop up. Simply add it to your chart, and it will now show up exactly as it does on mine. To trade using this indicator, I like to add one more to help out. Then, go to the indicator section and search for the slow stochastic indicator. Make sure to select the option provided by Clodino80. Simply click on it and it will then show up on your chart. It is quite interesting that we should come here to style and switch to a more striking color, for example white and red. We can also increase the line thickness here so that we can better observe the moment when the crossover happens, which is precisely what we'll be needing. So we can definitely make the thickness larger and then click OK. Now let's take a look at what we have right here. For a purchase, it's quite straightforward. What exactly will we need to observe? But before we move on, many of you frequently ask me which brokerage firm I personally use to trade in the Forex market, stocks, or even cryptocurrencies. And the answer is EXNESS. To me, it is the best and most comprehensive brokerage available on the market. If you've gotten fed up with your broker, you'll get what I'm saying. With many brokers, orders take a while to execute. On EXNESS, the execution is instant. Some brokers charge incredibly high spreads. However, with EXNESS, the spreads and fees are remarkably low, truly among the lowest you will encounter in the entire market. Ever waited days for a withdrawal? With EXNESS, funds arrive almost instantly. And best of all, you can adjust the leverage almost infinitely, however you want, controlling your risk. So if your broker freezes, charges high fees, or delays payment, it's time to switch. The link will be in the description, and as I mentioned, I consider it one of the very best brokers with some of the lowest fees in the entire market. For a purchase, we will need to see the indicator turn blue. When this occurs, it means we are in an established uptrend. Observe that this trend has just reversed, meaning it has an even greater likelihood of continuation. And so, what exactly are we going to be waiting for? We will be waiting for the very first pullback the price will make right here within this zone. It absolutely cannot drop below. It approaches the brew up trend channel here, meaning it can get close or even touch it, but it absolutely cannot break below it.
And here on the slow stochastic, we essentially need to observe the price entering this lower zone, specifically below 20.
When that happens, I await for a trigger, which will be what?
The white line crosses above the pink line.
When that happens, we can stretch the indicator to pinpoint the exact location. The crossover happened on this exact candlestick. It's important to note that the crossover must come with a green candlestick, okay?
In this case, here. So we would place our entry right at the close of the candlestick that made the crossover. Set our stop loss just below the blue region here at minus 0.15%, and we will always set the take profit target for 2 times that at 0.30. And the price hit it right here a few minutes later, giving us a win. Why did it do that? Precisely because the trend is upward, based on price action.
This indicator shows us the pivots, So when the price breaks a pivot, that's when the trend actually changes.
It's much more efficient than moving averages, which are lagging. And if you want to follow my real-time analysis, I also have a free group on Telegram.
There, I follow some live trading sessions, do market analysis, and I post opportunities that appear during the day. So if you want to join, the link is here in the video description.
And actually, in the pinned message, you'll find out how to execute those trades right along with me. Just click the link here, the group is completely free. For a sell, it's the same thing but in reverse. Notice that the indicator is red. We are going to wait for the price to make a pullback close to the red line or touching it, but it can't break above because that would change the structure.
So the downtrend structure continues here. I need to see the slow stochastic indicator rise above this dashed zone at the top, which represents the daily zone, and subsequently execute a downward crossover.
Look here, it made the crossover of the white line below the red line right here, which is where I would place my entry.
It was this candle, and it also needs to be red.
So our entry would be at the close of this crossover candlestick.
We would position our stop loss just above the pivot trend area at a negative 0.12% and aim for a 2-to-1 return below that, specifically at 0.24. Mere minutes later, the price reached our take profit target, clearly demonstrating that this indicator offers a highly attractive risk-reward ratio and a remarkably solid accuracy level as well. But remember, you must always combine it with support and resistance, a higher time frame, market context, and, most importantly, understand this video is educational, not an investment recommendation, not a suggestion to buy or sell assets, nor to use the indicator, because the financial market is risky and you could lose money.
Always use capital management. If you liked this video, subscribe, turn on notifications and leave a like. That way you'll be the first to see my new videos.
And also comment with more indicators for me to bring more like this one here. Thanks and see you in the next lesson.